Good morning and welcome to this November the 20th version of Sunrise to Sunset with Pastor Gene. Today we're going to be looking at a very short book, kind of like some of those we were looking at last week. It's only 25 verses, but it's the book of Philemon. And it's a very important book in the New Testament. Paul mentions an Onesimus in Colossians, and now he is going to mention Onesimus here in Philemon. So whatever was driving Paul to write this little note, which we believe may have been attached as a note to another letter that is a non-canonical epistle. There was a letter to Laodicea that it appears Philemon, the book of Philemon, may have been attached to. That book, Laodicea, did not get into the scripture, but this one did. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why that may have been the case in this time together. The whole nature of the book of Philemon is that Paul is attempting to do some reconciliation between Philemon, who is a dear friend and co-worker, along with several others. He wants to do some reconciliation between Philemon and Onesimus. And it appears that Onesimus may have been a slave that has run away from Philemon, and Paul is trying to help broker a reconciliation about why he ran away, and we don't know what the actual cause of that was. We don't know if he was able to make this reconciliation work. What we do know is that Paul valued Onesimus. Paul saw Onesimus as a child of God. He reckoned him important to the work of Christ. It raises the issue about the institution of slavery, and we know the history of racism and slavery in this country, in America, and we know that it isn't a pretty history. It's a very ugly history. But what I bet you didn't know was how it was viewed a long time ago by the spiritual founder of United Methodism, John Wesley. I've got a letter here that was written to a member of Parliament on February 24th, 1791. Now, Wesley's getting to be an old man, and the American Revolution had been over, and the Methodist Episcopal Church had been formed in the United States, and the country wasn't even a decade old when Wesley wrote these words to a member of Parliament, William Wilberforce. Listen to these words. "Oh, be not weary of well-doing. Go on in the name of God and in the power of his might till even American slavery, the vilest that ever saw the sun, shall vanish away before it. Reading this morning a tract wrote by a poor African, I was particularly struck by that circumstance that a man who has black skin, being wronged or outraged by a white man, can have no redress, it being a law in our colonies that the oath of a black against a white goes for nothing. What villainy is this?" You know, Wesley calls out the injustice of treating people wrong simply because of the color of their skin. He calls out the wrong of not being able to treat another human being as a human being. And he insults the new nation by referring back to it as the colonies, even after the revolution. This letter was written in 1791. And the world was watching America. And we were doing some ugly things back then to other human beings. And I think in some senses we're still dealing with that today. I hope you can see that. Paul sees himself and refers to himself in this letter as a prisoner. He sees Philemon as a fellow church member. He offers prayer and love and encouragement, and he pleads for helping secure freedom from his imprisonment. This is kind of a play on what's going on between Philemon and Onesimus. In verse 17, he brings it home and he says, if you consider me a partner, if you consider me a partner, and if he has wronged you, charge it to my account. Let me help make this thing right. And then in verse 19, he reminds Philemon, you owe me. So refresh my heart. Do something right. Do the right thing. If we want, he even goes to the point where he says, by the way, if it's my plan to visit you, so get your guest room ready. I'm coming to see you. I would be kind of a powerful statement, kind of like Wesley's wake-up call here to America. Even though he didn't really have a say in anything that happened politically in the country, he did have a say in what needed to happen morally, especially among the people called Methodists. And we still need to hear Wesley's voice on this today, to do away with evil, injustice, and oppression in whatever forms they present themselves. So the challenge here from this little short book of Philemon is that we would practice justice, we would practice mercy, and we would practice truth. And that's the kind of message that we all need to be carrying with us from sunrise to sunset.